All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Ventures podcast. Today I'm going to be just quickly comparing 4 different LLM services. This is OpenAI's ChatGPT. We're going to be looking at Google's Bard, HuggingChat, which has their own LLM, and you'll see how that's like significantly different than the others, and BingChat, which uses ChatGPT, which uses GPT-4, and so I've pre-populated these initial ones with recommendations for good books about founding a startup, and then I'm gonna go through all 4 about even suggesting front-end code for a standard landing page. But before I get into that, if you're listening to this, this is actually a screencast, so you can click on the link in the show notes to watch the screencast or video. And if you're watching this, you can always switch at any time and go over to your favorite podcast player and listen to this via podcast. I'll do my best to describe what I'm talking about in the screencast in order for you to follow along. All right, so the first 4 here I have just pre-populated. I just a minute ago just added this in, and I'm just doing the free versions of all 4 of these. So what you can do is you can see that I've asked, what are some good books about founding a startup? And I've been building startups for almost 20 years now, investing in startups for about 14 years. And so I've read most of these and also highly recommend them. But okay, so here's what ChatGPT, the free version with GPT 3.5, recommends. And Lean Startup by Eric Ries, of course, that's usually the number one. 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, Startup Owner's Manual, Founders at Work, Hard Things About Hard Things, Venture Deals, Discipline Entrepreneurship, Crossing the Chasm. So I've read most of these. Venture Deals is obviously really important, especially if you're going to be raising money and converting some equity into cash. So you're raising money for equity financing. Highly recommended. And in fact, this order is actually quite good. This is typically very, very, very similar to the order that I usually recommend. I like to put Creativity Inc. in here, and some of the leadership fables from Patrick Lencioni. But I'll do my own list as we go, and maybe in some future episodes. But okay, so Google Bard. What I noticed about Google Bard is it did it right away. They keep adding different things very, very quickly, so that the actual display of this, and you'll see when I probably go into front end code, we'll see how it does. But this one, yeah, Lean Startup 0 to 1, Hard Things About Hard Things, the Mom Test, which is different, $100 Startup, Founders at Work, Lost and Founder, Innovator's Dilemma, Art of Startup Fundraising, which is interesting they use that one and not Brad Feld's book. Anyway, it's fascinating, but it's pretty good list. Hard to argue against most of these. All right, now, and that's Google Bard. Okay, so now moving over to HuggingChat. Hugging Face has their own LLM. I heard some chatter about what this is. What's interesting, and I did the same prompt, importantly, with all 4 of these. So just literally, what are some good books about founding a startup? And so this one just did a whole block, and it said, I encourage you to read The Lean Startup, and then it goes just through a huge paragraph about how to actually start a startup. So it almost intuited that, like, okay, I'm interested in learning, and it gave me the things that I would need to know in this big block of text, but it actually didn't give me a list, which was pretty interesting. We'll see how it does with some other things. Okay, now BingChat I'll use the GPT-4. So yeah, so basically we have GPT 3.5 here with OpenAI. We got Google's own LLM, and I know they have a bunch of LLMs internally. So, and I've talked to some folks that says this is going to keep getting better and better. And oh, interesting, they have a little draft feature here. And then Hugging Face is also trying to compete in this space. You've noticed they all sort of have a similar UI here. And then Bing takes a minute when it's weird how I ask it a question and it says searching for best books for startup founders. So it kind of intuits what it's searching for. And then it gives me Lost and Founders #1. Good Rand fellow Seattleite. Startup checklist, the lean startup, founders dilemmas, secrets of Sand Hill Road, 0 to 1. And then what's interesting here is according to a source here, teambuilding.com, the best startup books to read. So it's searching the internet, obviously. It lists out 0 to 1, Creativity Inc. Oh yeah, there we go. The Lean Startup, Startup Owner's Manual, and The Art of War, or the War of Art. A very important difference. 4-Hour Work Week, Purple Cow. Yeah, these are all great books. Obviously, there's a sort of an infinite number of them that are really great. But as it relates to how to compare these 4 LLMs, you can see how each has a different list and a different way of displaying it. And well, obviously it'll take a lot more exploration to figure out, based on your use cases, which one you'd want to use. So let's go back and start from the beginning and just say, let's say what generate for me front end code for a typical startup landing page. So I'm going to copy that. Let's see what it says. Certainly. Here's an example. Your startup, and it's cranking out some code here. Looks like it's doing the header. Looks like it's doing a container with a about. Yeah, there's a call to action here. So another section, about section, a services section. So it's putting these divs in. Okay. Contact us form, that is also quite typical. All right, looks like it's doing pretty well here. Footer, and there you go. So the code above represents the structure. Okay, it doesn't give me it includes the basic navigation. You can further enhance the page by adding your own styling, CSS. Okay, let's just ask it. Can you give me recommended CSS for the above code? Default styles, here we go. So you can start asking it for more. And I've done this in a previous episode where I've copy and pasted this in. And so you can scroll back a few episodes and check that out. But yeah, it's adding all the code. You can see how you can just copy and paste this in if you know some basic HTML, CSS, and you'd be ready to go. Here we go. Look at that. All right, so now let's go ahead and yeah, that's great. Okay, now let's go ahead and ask this from Bard. Bard, generate for me front-end code for typical startup landing page. Let's see what it does. So I was actually pretty impressed with OpenAI as it gave the basics. Oh, look at this. Why you should care, get started, copyright. Okay. That is definitely a basic HTML. It looks like it's not quite as robust as ChatGPT's. And then it gives you some information here. Let me ask it the same thing. Give me recommended CSS for the code above. Okay, so it's interesting. Both didn't give me the CSS because it just said front end code. So I just said okay. All right, here's some recommended CSS. So this looks interesting. Make your code looks more polished and professional. There we go. All right, cool. Now let's go ahead and ask the same question of Hugging Face. I actually don't know. HuggingChat. I don't know if it's going to do it. Let's find out. Ah, okay. Look at that. Note, here's some HTML CSS code for basic responsive landing page layout. Note that the style rule should apply. What is going on here? besides obstacles the elderly living in rural areas might face? What on earth? Yeah, they're still working on that one. They're still working on that one. Okay, let's continue. Okay, they didn't even give me the HTML, so I'm curious actually where Hugging Face is going to be even better. I'm going to continue. Okay, generate for me front-end code for a typical startup landing page. Okay, let's do it here with Bing AI. Okay, searching for, I don't know, I still don't understand why it says. There are many ways to create a startup landing page for startup. Use front-end framework like Bootstrap or Tailwind. Okay, did not crank out code for me. Maybe I need to ask it a different way. Can you generate code for me for this? Let's see if it does it. Huh. Okay. BingChat does not generate the code for me. Fascinating. All right. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and stop this from here. You know, we recommend some good books. I encourage you to do that and just keep asking. Keep asking it for more recommendations. And then as it relates to code, I think we have some clear winners here with both ChatGPT and Bard. And I'll be definitely curious to see where Bing heads and where HuggingChat heads and other LLMs that come up along the way. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your week. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I wanted to just let you know before you go that if you're interested in following along with any of the content I write, go to wclittle.com. There I have a newsletter that you can subscribe to and just subscribe to any topic that I write about, whether it's Web3 or health science or software development or any of the miscellaneous new buzzwords like generative AI and other things that come up. And you can also publish. That new platform is called Satchel. We're letting in more folks into the beta. Think kind of like a Substack, Medium, Mirror, WordPress, but it has some new features that are coming that I think you're going to be really interested in. Also, if you're building a startup, I have a portfolio company called Startup Rocket. StartupRocket.com gives you coaching frameworks and different guides so that you have an understanding about how to build a startup in a scalable way, and you can bring in your team and your mentors and advisors and potential investors. So we've built that platform and use it internally at my venture capital group, Proto Ventures, and I highly recommend it for you. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your week.